all you have to do is turn on the evening news and you'll see how labels are being used. The way immigrants are talked about, the way white people are talked about in show business versus other people. You just look at the stereotypes, look at a movie, look at the stereotypes that's constantly being sold to us. So one of the things that I started noticing was if an immigrant crossed the border and committed a crime, suddenly the focus would be on their race, nationality, ethnicity. But if a white person goes into a school and shoots people, but they're born in the US, guess what? They are mentally ill. We need to feel sorry for them. So I started to pick up on, this is the way labels are dividing us. We're being sold different stories depending on the label that we carry. And that's a problem.
You're so right. I mean, just watch the news and you'll see it. I mean, it's as obvious as night and day. It's so interesting that you bring all of that stuff up. But, I also think that it's not necessarily just something that's going on in the United States. I mean, we're seeing this all over the world.
All over the world.
Yeah.
It's spreading like wildfire.
We are, absolutely. I mean, I see this, we are the best type of mentality in countries all over the country. And anybody who comes in as an immigrant is somehow looked down on. I mean, no matter what country you're in. I mean, that philosophy has just spread all over. But it's just so interesting that here we are, we call ourselves the United States of America, a country that was built on immigrants. And we have that same attitude that we see all over. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay. So you learned how to process that anger, right? I mean, you have some deep-seated anger over, these labels. And so how can the students who are listening right now, how can they process the anger that they're dealing with also?
I think that anger it's a feeling that's there to tell us something's not right here. So it's really, if we look at it as guidance and we trust that guidance, something's not right here, what are we going to do about it? So one of the things that I started to really observe is, what is my role in this mess? Because everyone thinks they're right. They have the right political views, they have the right ideas. So I started to realize that I can add to this division and say, I am right because, or I can look at the situation from a different perspective. So instead of being angry, like, you got to vote for this candidate, you got to vote for this person, you're adding to the fuel. You're actually technically adding to the fuel. So most recently, I saw this argument come up with the whole vaccination thing. So now it was the people against the vaccines versus those who wanted to get the vaccine. Boom, it's the same argument in another issue. So what are we going to do with that anger? Are we going to ridicule anyone who has different views from us? Or are we going to sit down and be like, okay, this is our common ground? So for the kids that are angry right now because of their reproductive rights, because of their political parties, we have to sit down and realize what is the common ground, because I may have different political views, but we all just are trying to live our lives to the best of our ability. But it's impossible when we're fighting each other, because at the end of the day, as long as we're fighting each other, the person who is manipulating this is winning. The politicians, the corrupt politicians, the governments that have, every perk imaginable off of our tax money. So as long as people are pointing elsewhere, we're not noticing the real problem, where it's coming from, who is causing this division, how is the media, how are labels being used to keep us fighting each other.